Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, Mauritius confers its highest civilian award on India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is the first Indian leader to receive this honour. The US and Ukraine hold crunch talks at Jeddah in Saudi Arabia to repair their ties and find a path towards ending the 3-year-old conflict with Russia. More than 30 nations meet in Paris for talks on a security force for Ukraine. Trump envoy plans Moscow visit this week to meet Russia's president. Greenland votes in key parliamentary election as US President Donald Trump seeks to control the strategic Arctic island. All 31 seats up for grabs. And armed militants hijack a train in Balochistan, take 450 passengers, including Pakistani military personnel, hostage. India and Mauritius, two nations bound by history, culture and deep-rooted ties, ushered in a new era of friendship as Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Port Louis. A grand ceremonial welcome, cultural performances and high-level meetings mark this significant visit. Akshay Dongre and Tripti Tripathi report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi touched down at Port Louis to a grand reception received personally by his Mauritian counterpart, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgulam. A ceremonial guard of honour was accorded to him. Adding to the celebratory spirit, over 200 dignitaries gathered at the airport, reflecting the deep-rooted bond between the two democracies. A special moment unfolded as the Indian diaspora welcomed PM Modi with the traditional Bihari Geet Gawai performance, a folk art that symbolizes the cultural heritage of Indian migrants in Mauritius. The visit continued to the historic Sibu Sagar Ramgulam Botanical Garden, where PM Modi and PM Ramgulam paid tribute to two towering leaders of Mauritius, Sibu Sagar Ramgulam and Anirudh Jagannath, for their immense contributions to the nation's progress. In a symbolic gesture, PM Modi planted a bale sapling under the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative, an effort to honour mothers by promoting environmental conservation. This marks yet another step in his global greening mission. At the State House, Prime Minister Modi met Mauritian President Dharambir Gokul, where the two leaders discussed ways to deepen bilateral ties. PM Modi gifted the holy Sangam water from Mahakumbh and Bihar's nutritious superfood makhana to the Mauritian president. A touch of Indian elegance was added with the traditional Banarasi sari gifted to the First Lady of Mauritius. PM Modi also visited the Ayurvedic garden, a testament to India-Mauritius collaboration in traditional medicine. This initiative strengthened ties in the field of holistic healing, reinforcing a shared commitment to preserving ancient knowledge. From cultural heritage to strategic partnerships, PM Modi's visit to Mauritius reaffirmed the deep-rooted connection between the two nations. With Akshay Dongre, Tripti Tripathi's report for DD India.
Prime Minister Modi also attended a community event where he addressed the Indian diaspora in Mauritius. Mauritius has bestowed its highest civilian honour, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With this, he becomes the first Indian leader to receive this prestigious award, joining a select group of just 5 global leaders, including the late Nelson Mandela. The Prime Minister also handed over the OCI card of the Overseas Citizen of India to Mauritian Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam and to his spouse Veena Ramgoolam, symbolizing a deep heritage and connect between the two nations.
Awarded me this great honor. It is perhaps fitting that I should also announce to everybody here today that I've asked the President of the Republic to award to you, Sri Modi, the highest award that we have, Grand Commander of the Order of the Star. Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, very fitting for you, Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Modi said that whenever he comes to Mauritius, it feels like he is among his own. The Prime Minister dedicated his award bestowed on him to the hard-working Indian diaspora in Mauritius.
मॉरिशस के लोगों ने, यहाँ की सरकार ने और जैसा अभी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने घोषित किया, मुझे अपना सर्वोच्च नागरिक सम्मान देने का फैसला लिया है। मैं आपके निर्णय को विनम्रता से स्वीकार करता हूं। ये भारत और मॉरिशस के ऐतिहासिक रिश्तों का सम्मान है। ये उन भारतीयों का सम्मान है जिन्होंने पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी इस धरती की खूब सेवा की।
Addressing a community event, the Prime Minister also said that a lot of families from Mauritius were unable to attend the grand gathering of the Mahakumbh, and hence he has himself caught the holy water from the 45-day-long gathering for the people of Mauritius.
जानता हूं कि मॉरिशस के अनेक परिवार अभी-अभी महाकुंभ में भी होकर आए हैं, लेकिन मुझे ये भी पता है कि मॉरिशस के मेरे अनेक परिवारजन चाहते हुए भी एकता के इस महाकुंभ में नहीं आ पाए। मुझे आपकी भावनाओं का ध्यान है, इसलिए मैं आपके लिए पवित्र संगम का और महाकुंभ के उसी समय का पवित्र जल साथ लेकर आया हूं। इस पवित्र जल को कल यहां गंगा तालाब को अर्पित किया जाएगा।
Prime Minister Modi says that Mauritius is like a mini India and the bond between the two nations has been long-standing based on trusted partnership.
For us, Mauritius is family. This bond is deep and strong, rooted in history, heritage, and the human spirit. Mauritius is also a bridge connecting India to the wider global south. Whether it is investment or infrastructure, commerce or crisis response, India always stands with Mauritius. Indian companies have invested millions of dollars in Mauritius. We have partnered in building critical infrastructure projects for the people of Mauritius. It is boosting growth, creating jobs, and transforming industries.
Prime Minister Modi says that Mauritius is at the heart of India's Sagar vision. He said when Mauritius faces a crisis, India is the first responder and when the country prospers, it is the first to celebrate.
With large ocean territories, needs to secure its resources from illegal fishing, piracy and crimes. As a trusted and reliable friend, India works with Mauritius to protect your national interests and secure the Indian Ocean region.
Prime Minister Modi met his host, the Mauritian Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam, at his residence, where both leaders exchanged gifts. Prime Minister Modi handed over the holy Sangam water from Mahakumbh and Bihar's nutritious superfood makhana to the Mauritian Prime Minister. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Ukraine attacks Russia's capital Moscow with drones, kills 3. Kurdish militia sign a peace deal with the interim government of Syria. And former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte arrested on an international warrant.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
What is more important, fixing the present or planning for the future? Innovators across the globe rethinking the way we live to secure a better future for us.
I found out about the Rahi trade-in scheme. I went to the agency and discovered that I could receive a subsidy for this e-rickshaw.
We basically mirror that same process, but instead of water for one of our solutions, we use blocks powering about 35,000 homes.
Our goal is to send a message that it's important to fight for better urban air quality. And I think
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Right, let's take you to Mauritius for some more latest visuals of the Indian Prime Minister's ongoing visit to Mauritius. These are the latest visuals of a banquet hosted in honor of the visiting Indian dignitary.
His Excellency Mr. Camille Vital, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, distinguished guests, good evening to all of you. Welcome to this state banquet hosted by the Prime Minister of Mauritius and Mrs. Ramgoolam in honor of His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, on the occasion of our National Day celebrations. May I kindly invite Your Excellencies and distinguished guests to rise for the National Anthem of India, followed by the National Anthem of Mauritius. And a singular privilege to welcome His Excellency the Prime Minister of India in our midst. Bharatiya Pradhan Mantri ji, Mauritius में आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I now invite the Prime Minister of Mauritius to address the gathering.
Your Excellency, Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Paul Bélanger, External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. Jay Shankar, distinguished guests. On behalf of the government and people of Mauritius, and in my own personal name and that of my wife Veena, it is both a great honor and especially joyous occasion to welcome you to celebrate with us our Day of Freedom. Hardik Swagat Che. I'm immensely proud and honored, Prime Minister, that you have accepted my invitation to grace our National Day celebrations by your presence despite your very heavy schedule. It is a testimony of your deep feelings for Mauritius, Chota Bharat. On a personal note, I recall with great pride and a sense of profound gratitude the unique privilege you so kindly honored me with by inviting me to your first swearing-in ceremony as Prime Minister of India in 2014. I'm hoping you will invite me for the fourth swearing-in as well. I was the only head of government from outside the Southern Asian region to have had this unique consideration. Prime Minister, the bond which links India and Mauritius is eternal and sacred. It is no coincidence that Sir Shiv Sagar Ramgoolam, father of the nation, chose the 12th of March as our Freedom Day, which coincides with the date Mahatma Gandhi started his Satyagraha in 1930. When Sir Shiv Sagar arrived in London to study medicine in 1924, he chose to stay at the Indian Students Association's lodgings. I guess they were probably cheaper. But as fate would have it, the fact that he chose to stay there, he made many friends from India. And this somehow led him to join the branch in London of the Indian National Congress. And eventually he became president of the local branch. This inevitably led him to be involved in the national movement for independence. And he met many of these freedom fighters at the time. This is how he met Mahatma Gandhi. He always used to say his hero was Lala Lajpat Rai, the Lion of Punjab. But it was Vithalbhai Patel who became his political guru. Now, I did not know that Vithalbhai Patel was also from Gujarat. His elder brother, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, became Deputy Prime Minister later on. However, he was mostly attracted to the revolutionary methods of Subhash Chandra Bose, who wrote a book called The Indian Struggle. He wasn't allowed to publish it in India. He asked Sir Shiv Sagar to proofread it for him, which he did. And then he went to launch the book in Vienna in 1935. There, he gave a copy of the book to Sir Shiv Sagar, who was then just qualified as a doctor, who was coming back to Mauritius. And in it, he wrote his dedication to the book to SSR, and I want to read it because it says a lot. He said, "Through life and death, let us carry in our hearts the following motto, which fell from the lips of one of the greatest sons of India, Shri Aurobindo Ghosh. I should like to see some of you becoming great. Great not for your own sake, but to make India great, so that she may stand up with head erect among the free nations of the world. Those of you who are poor and obscure, I should like to see their poverty and obscurity devoted to the service of the motherland. Work that she might prosper, suffer that she might rejoice." End of quote. This gives you goosebumps. Written by Subhash Chandra Bose's handwriting. Prime Minister have quoted Netaji only because it shows that undeniable link that the father of the nation had with one of the greatest freedom fighters of India. And it reminds me, Prime Minister, of your constant endeavors to make India reclaim its place among the world's great nations. It is known, and we were sipping, we traveled together in the car, and I know a bit more about the Prime Minister now, the life that he led, the spirituality. Prime Minister has been deeply inspired by Swami Vivekananda's principles of service and sacrifice. Prime Minister, you are the living testimony of selfless public service. Today, thanks to your resolute, determined, and indefatigable effort, you have asserted India's role on the world stage. And this is why I have on every occasion I have had, be it at the United Nations or in other international forums, called for India to be given a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. It is nonsensical and absurd that India, with a population of nearly 1.5 billion people and a nuclear power at that, should not have its rightful seat at the UN Security Council. Earlier I had mentioned the special bond between our two countries. How can we forget that India was the first country, you mentioned it just now at the convention, first country to send vaccines to Mauritius during the COVID pandemic and saved many lives. The people of Mauritius will always remember that in the midst of the world-threatening pandemic, you, Prime Minister, immediately designated your External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, who we are delighted to have in our midst today. He came to gauge the situation, leading to the vital assistance that India so generously provided. On another personal note, Man Ki Baat, when I was severely affected by COVID, where else to seek state-of-the-art medical attention but in India, where Prime Minister, you ensured that I was given all the necessary care and attention by the best team of doctors on hand. I wasn't even a member of the National Assembly. In fact, I had already been written off. Only a true friend would do that. And both my wife, my sister who is here, my family, will be forever grateful to you, Prime Minister, and to India. Mara Bhai, Modi ji, Tamaro Abhar. I also wish to thank you, Prime Minister, for your telephone call while the election results were coming in on the 11th of November 2024, when it was clear, it was becoming clearer, that we are going to an overwhelming victory. I was deeply touched by your inspiring words, the more so as you were the first head of government to have congratulated me even before the victory was pronounced. This hard-fought victory reinforced my faith in the strength and the will of the people of Mauritius and our democratic values which we share with this great country, India. The peaceful transition that followed the elections demonstrates, once again, the maturity of the Mauritian population and the resilience of our democracy. Prime Minister, let me seize this opportunity to reiterate our gratitude to for India's unflinching support to the long-standing struggle to complete its decolonization process, thus allowing us to exercise full sovereignty over our entire territory. Thanks to your principled and unflinching support, we have no doubt that you have played a pivotal role in encouraging the United Kingdom to engage in the process of negotiations in November 2022. Similarly, we appreciate that you stressed the necessity to ensure maritime security in the Indian Ocean during your talks with President Trump in February of this year at the White House. Allow me also to express my gratitude to your distinguished External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, for his intervention on behalf of Mauritius with the former Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, who afterwards rang me to say so. Excellency, the development of infrastructure facilities made possible by your government proved to be crucial during the passage of Cyclone Chido in Agaliga in January 2025. The support of the Indian Navy ensured the swift delivery of essential supplies and construction materials for the rehabilitations of the Agalians. Some of my ministers went there afterwards to see with their eyes. The footprints of India are visible all over the development architecture of Mauritius, be it economic, cultural or social. I would like here to underscore the crucial role of India in the enhancement of our human capital index. Even before independence, the best institutions of higher learning of India were made accessible to many bright students who otherwise would have been deprived of a university education. Many of them are today occupying positions of high responsibility both in the public and the private sector. We are also benefiting from the capacity building under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Scheme. The inauguration of the Civil Service College, named after the former Prime Minister Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, tomorrow, is yet another milestone in the assistance that India is providing us. Prime Minister, distinguished guest, our government program 2025-2029 entitled A Bridge to the Future sets the agenda for the total reconstruction of our country, underpinned by the national goals of economic efficiency, social justice, solidarity, and unity. For us to achieve our ambitious and visionary objectives, we shall have to rely on our traditional development partners, in particular India. There are several crucial areas of cooperation where India could play a meaningful role. I have in mind the ocean economy, green and renewable energy, food security, and artificial intelligence. Prime Minister, our special relationship with India, based on the close historical and cultural links with the land of our ancestors, but also on our commonality of interest as coastal states of a shared ocean, our government program for the next 5 years reaffirms our commitment to develop our ocean economy, now extending to one of the largest oceanic territories in the world. We look forward to further consolidate our collaboration for security in the Indian Ocean region as part of SAGAR. The agreement signed between our two countries during your visit, Excellency, already, which will be signed tomorrow, already important steps towards the collaboration on ocean-related issues. We are confident that these and others to come will further consolidate and strengthen our collaboration in the ocean space. Mauritius has always supported greater regional cooperation and integration. We are geographically, culturally, and politically close to both the African and the Asian continents. Whilst we are a member of the African regional and sub-regional organizations and trade partnerships, we are also privileged to host two regional Indian Ocean organizations, the Indian Ocean Commission and the Indian Ocean Rim Association. The IORA brings together coastal states from both the African and Asian continents, and we are strongly committed to engaging with India and other member states of the IORA to further strengthen the political and economic ties within the region, and in particular in areas such as climate change and disaster management in a region which faces, as we can see, serious climate change challenges. Prime Minister, ever since the people of India, in their wisdom, entrusted the stewardship of the country in your able hands, you have blazed a transformational trajectory that is nothing short of inspiring. I have learned that you have crisscrossed India to see the problems of ordinary people, what they were facing, without politics in mind, I'm told. And you tried to help them. This Prime Minister is the litmus test of a strong and caring Prime Minister. This is what has allowed you to lift India and give it a driving dream, the hallmark of true leadership and character. Excellency, the national rejuvenation of India and the revival of the epic Indian civilization bear your indelible seal. We are highly appreciative of your personal commitment, Prime Minister, to the concerns of the Global South. At the G20 summit in New Delhi in 2023, you successfully shifted the focus to international growth and development and enabled the African Union to become a permanent member of the G20, a decision widely acclaimed by the continent. Africa, Prime Minister, is grateful. Distinguished guests, I would like to express our appreciation to the laudable position of India as regards the dire reality facing small island developing states. SIDS are isolated politically when it comes to major global decisions because we're small. India's support to assist us to grapple with the hurdle of political inaccessibility to major powers with which we seek to engage to advance the development agenda is critical for our future. The prominence of India today on the global stage may have surprised many. This is not so for those who, like Mauritius, know and fully appreciate the depth of this great country's history. India's vision of the world is enshrined in the immortal expression Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Let me, Prime Minister, also congratulate the Republic of India for the successful organization of the Mahakumbh Mela this year, held in Prague, Uttar Pradesh, attended by some 660 million people, pilgrims. And also for winning the International Cricket Council Champions Trophy this year. I must admit, I don't know much about cricket. The relations between India and Mauritius are not ephemeral relations. We are united not only by deep spiritual and cultural bonds, but also by the essential values of democracy. These are relations that transcend time, people, and statecraft. The relationship between India and Mauritius can be compared to the banyan tree, the immortal tree with interconnectedness. Prime Minister, I wish you and members of your delegation a pleasant stay in our midst. I have no doubt your visit will take our relationship to a still higher stratum. Bharat, India matters to the world, but Bharat matters even more to Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, I invite you to join me in a toast to the health and well-being of His Excellency the Prime Minister of the Republic of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to the happiness and prosperity of the people of India, and to the abiding friendship between Mauritius and India. Jai Hind, Jai Mauritius, Dhanyavad. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I now have the honor to invite the Prime Minister of India to deliver his speech.
Your Excellency, प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम जी, श्रीमती वीणा रामगुलाम जी, उप प्रधानमंत्री पॉल बैरांजे जी, मॉरिशस के सभी सम्मानित मंत्रीगण, उपस्थित गणमान्य बंधु भगिनी, आप सबको नमस्कार। बॉन्जूर। सबसे पहले मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के भावपूर्ण और प्रेरणादायक विचारों के लिए हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मॉरिशस में मिले गरिमामय स्वागत और आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री, मॉरिशस सरकार और यहाँ के लोगों का हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। किसी भी भारतीय प्रधानमंत्री के लिए मॉरिशस यात्रा हमेशा बहुत खास होती है। यह केवल एक राजनयिक दौरा नहीं होता, बल्कि अपने परिवार से मिलने का एक अवसर होता है। इसी आत्मीयता का ऐसा एहसास मुझे उस पल से महसूस हो रहा है जब से आज मैंने मॉरिशस की धरती पर कदम रखा है। सब जगह एक अपनापन है, कहीं प्रोटोकॉल की बाधाएं नहीं है। मेरे लिए यह सौभाग्य की बात है कि एक बार फिर मॉरिशस के राष्ट्रीय दिवस के अवसर पर मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में शामिल हो रहा हूं। इस मौके पर 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों की ओर से आप सबको हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। प्रधानमंत्री जी, मॉरिशस के लोगों ने आपको चौथी बार देश का प्रधानमंत्री चुना है। पिछले वर्ष भारत के लोगों ने मुझे लगातार तीसरी बार सेवा करने का अवसर दिया है और मैं इसको सुखद संयोग मानता हूं। इस कार्यकाल में आप जैसे वरिष्ठ और अनुभवी नेता के साथ मिलकर काम करने का मौका मिला है। हमें भारत और मॉरिशस संबंधों को नई ऊंचाई दिलाने का सौभाग्य मिला है। भारत और मॉरिशस पार्टनरशिप केवल हमारे ऐतिहासिक संबंधों तक सीमित नहीं है। ये साझा मूल्यों, आपसी विश्वास और उज्जवल भविष्य के एक समान दृष्टिकोण पर आधारित है। हमारे संबंधों को आपने हमेशा नेतृत्व प्रदान किया है और इसी नेतृत्व के बल पर हमारी साझेदारी हर क्षेत्र में निरंतर मजबूत हो रही है। भारत को इस बात का गर्व है कि वह मॉरिशस का विश्वसनीय साथी है और उसकी विकास यात्रा में अभिन्न सहयोगी है। हम मिलकर महत्वपूर्ण इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट पर काम कर रहे हैं जो मॉरिशस के कोने कोने में विकास की अमिट छाप छोड़ रहे हैं। क्षमता निर्माण और ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट में आपसी सहयोग के परिणाम गवर्नमेंट और प्राइवेट सेक्टर में देखे जा रहे हैं। हर चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में, चाहे प्राकृतिक आपदा हो या कोविड महामारी, हम एक परिवार की तरह एक साथ खड़े रहे हैं। आज हमारे ऐतिहासिक और सांस्कृतिक संबंधों ने एक व्यापक साझेदारी का रूप लिया है। फ्रेंड्स, मॉरिशस हमारा निकट मैरीटाइम पड़ोसी है और हिंद महासागर क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण साझेदार है। पिछली बार मेरी मॉरिशस यात्रा के दौरान मैंने विजन सागर रखा था। इसके केंद्र में क्षेत्रीय विकास, सुरक्षा और समृद्धि है। हमारा मानना है ग्लोबल साउथ के देशों को एकजुट होकर अपनी आवाज बुलंद करनी चाहिए। इसी सोच के साथ हमने अपनी G20 अध्यक्षता में ग्लोबल साउथ की प्राथमिकताओं को केंद्र में रखा और हमने मॉरिशस को अपने विशेष अतिथि के रूप में आमंत्रित किया। फ्रेंड्स, जैसा मैंने पहले भी कहा है, अगर विश्व में कोई एक देश है जिसका भारत पर पूरा हक है तो उस देश का नाम है मॉरिशस। हमारे संबंधों की कोई सीमा नहीं है। हमारे संबंधों को लेकर हमारी आशाओं और आकांक्षाओं की कोई लिमिट नहीं है। आने वाले समय में हम मिलकर हमारे लोगों के विकास, पूरे क्षेत्र की शांति और सुरक्षा के लिए मिलजुल करके काम करते रहेंगे। इसी विश्वास के साथ आइए हम सब मिलकर प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम जी और उनकी धर्मपत्नी वीणा जी के अच्छे स्वास्थ्य, मॉरिशस के लोगों की निरंतर प्रगति और समृद्धि और भारत मॉरिशस की घनिष्ठ मित्रता के लिए शुभकामनाएं व्यक्त करें। जय हिंद, विवे मॉरिस।
धन्यवाद प्रधानमंत्री जी। Excellencies and distinguished guests, I wish you all a bon appétit. Please enjoy the cultural show.
Right, you were listening there to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's banquet speech hosted by his Mauritian counterpart in his honor on day one of his two-day visit. If I can quickly recap for the benefit of viewers joining us on this broadcast, the Prime Minister of India describing India-Mauritius ties as one which has quote-unquote no limits. He says India was proud to invite Mauritius as a G20 summit invitee when India hosted that summit. He says the global south, including India and Mauritius, need to raise their voice on the world stage. He said he outlined his government's policy of Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, during his last visit to Mauritius. And he says Mauritius is a key partner in the Indian Ocean for India. Right, joining us is a very special guest, Mr. Atul Aneja, a foreign affairs expert. Mr. Aneja, welcome to this broadcast. I have about 10 minutes left on this broadcast. So very quickly, your thoughts, your opening comments on the big takeaways from the Prime Minister's banquet speech, his characterization of India-Mauritius ties as one which has quote-unquote no limits.
Yes, Amish, I think that really underscores this very, very special relationship between India and Mauritius, which has several layers to it, Ramesh. And, you know, you goes from the civilizational element to it, the people-to-people connect, to Indian Ocean as a partner in the Indian Ocean region, as a partner on the global south, the post-COVID relationship, which has been established and taken further. So many, many layers. It's a 360-degree relationship. And I think the Prime Minister touched on all the dimensions which make this relationship so very, very special.
Indeed. Before we delve into the specifics, Mr. Aneja, I want to quickly ask you about, the salience of India-Mauritius ties in terms of, say, the maritime security, the Indian Ocean security, in terms of trade and investment, and also its strategic location in the wider Indian Ocean region.
Yes, Ramesh, I think that is a very, very important, the security dimension to it. As you are well aware, the Mauritius sits on some of the more busiest shipping lanes which crisscross the Indian Ocean. So definitely a very, very strategic position which Mauritius enjoys. And there is a special maritime bond between India and Mauritius on that. So that's number one. The maritime dimension of it. And leading from that is that it is the gateway to the global south. And we're talking about the Indian Ocean, because if you cross Mauritius, then you are into the east coast of Africa. So there is that maritime linkage between the two countries, which makes it very, very strategic. And third, Ramesh, India played a major role, and I think the Mauritius Prime Minister alluded to that, in convincing the Americans to have the entire Chagos archipelago, which includes Digo Garcia, as part of Mauritius. I think the Mauritius leadership and the people are very grateful to India for that. Apart from, coming to the assistance, there was also a mention going beyond Indian Ocean is to G20.
Right.
Mauritius was a special guest. That's where the limitless partnership comes to the picture. That they were invited as a special guest for that. And India and the global south dimension was very clear when India fought for and sort of campaigned and finally succeeded in getting the African Union as part of the G20. So I think from oceanic security, sea lanes, people to people, special gestures, I think it's such a deep and comfortable relationship. As the Prime Minister said, that this is a relationship beyond all protocol. I mean, the comfort level was there to see. You get the Kumbh, waters from the Kumbh to Mauritius. I think deeply symbolic of the deep cultural bonds between India and Mauritius. I don't see any country you would be having this as part of your, forward diplomacy, as you saw here. And you had the Mauritius Prime Minister saying that, I was, when he was suffering from COVID, that, India saved his life. So that shows that this is beyond protocols, beyond politics, etc. There's a deep personal bond, traditional and even among the leadership. So I think it's an exceptionally important relationship, and it was demonstrated today, Ramesh. Just one final thought.
Sure.
Just look at the way the Prime Minister was received. There were 200 dignitaries coming at the airport to receive him. I mean, I can't remember.
At 6 in the morning local time, by the way.
And 6 o'clock morning time. I'm sure they don't have daily habits. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. But yeah, this is just fantastic. And then, you go and when you present the kumbh, which I spoke about, a Banarsi sari for the First Lady. I mean, this is something which is so personal and so India-Mauritius uniqueness. It just demonstrates, Ramesh. Personally, seeing all that just, made me aware of the kind of special relationship, civilizational relationship which we have, which is going into the modern era, into the digital age. Fantastic to watch.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for, Mr. Aneja. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And that's all for this edition of DD India News. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on your screens when you can to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.